Actuary Dude over here looking at another exam question. So this first bit is basically from the textbook. Explain what is meant by a forward contract, and in the answer include the terms short forward position and long forward position. So a forward contract is an agreement made at some time, that's T, between two parties under which one agrees to buy from the other a specified amount of an asset at a specified price at a specified future date, where the investor who's going to sell the asset is going to hold a short forward position in the asset and the buyer is going to be holding a long forward position. So that's really it, just from the textbook. And now looking at the question with the numbers part. So we have an investor entered into a long forward contract for £100 nominal of a security 7 years ago. Okay, so we're actually at this point in time over here, and this is where we started 7 years ago, and the contract is due to mature in 3 years' time. So that's why I've got it going over 10 years. The price per £100 nominal of the security was £96 7 years ago. So here's where it was 96, and now it's 148 today. Okay, and the risk-free rate of interest can be assumed to be 4% per annum. So I will be 4%. That's an effective one during the contract. Calculate the value of the contract now. So we want to know the value of the contract now. This is interesting. If the security will pay a single coupon of £7 in 2 years' time. So we're over here, £7 is over here, and this was known from the outset, which is also important to know because it's going to affect our equations. So the first thing, let's just find out what this value K will be, and the value of the forward contract today, even though it's not what we entered into. So we can be discounting that back 3 years, and that's going to be equal to, it's worth 148. We're going to get rid of that £7, and that's discounted back 2 years, and that'll give us some value K over here. Then the reason I'm just going to write down all my calculations first and then we'll work it out on Excel soon is because I've got some issue with the computer right now. For some reason the video seems to stuff up. But back when we started, we had K, so we're going to be discounting that back 10 years instead of 3. So we're going to compare it to what we actually did enter into. And this was £96 minus £7 over here, and this was actually going back 9 years back when we started there. And this is why it's worth noting if we did know about it or we didn't. Okay, and then we can find out what K is equal to. And then once we've found a difference between these two, we're going to find out what that difference is, and that'll be whether or not we've been making money or losing money at this point in time, and we'll then have to discount that difference back 3 years to find out what the value of the contract is now, to being today. Okay, so let's just find that out. Now the first bit of the contract we've got, so let me just work out what V is equal to, which is 1 divided by 1.04, because we use 4%. So the first part is that we have, let's say 148 minus 7 times V, which is, sorry I didn't put equals in there. There we go, 7 times V to the power of 2. And then we're going to be dividing all that by V to the power of 3. So that's this amount, 159.20. That's what it is today. Let's find out what it was 7 years ago when we started, which is going to be equal to 96 minus 7 times V, and that's to the power of 9 years we're going back, and then we're going to divide that whole thing by V to the power of 10. And this is the forward contract, what it actually was 7 years ago when we entered into it. So let's find out what the difference is. So in 3 years' time, so at time 10, we're actually going to be having it as £24.37, but we've just got to discount that back to today's value, which is 3 years' time. So we're going back 3 years, which gives us 21.67. So 21.67, and this amount over here I think was 159.20. This one over here was it was 134.82 if I remember correctly. So then that difference there, I'll just write it down, 134.82, and that whole thing discounted back 3 years. So this is the answer, and that's the value of the contract today. So thanks for watching, and please ask if you have any questions.